Removing that clause, we are just keeping it for 1 month. So whatever fare is there, within 1 month, they have to address it to us. And we feel this kind of mechanism is going to address a little bit about the irregularities that we see in the airfares. Now, airfares, many of the members have spoken. And also one other thing I have to mention is that when the airfares, the biggest chunk of the airfare goes to the fuel price. And for the fuel price, I don't know how many people know or not, but these are the fuel prices, the taxes on that. The VAT on the fuel price is being decided by the states itself. And we, from the ministry, proactively trying to address this air price issue, we have constantly written to all the states, and some states have obliged. Some states realize that even if we reduce the VAT, some have done it to the 1% also, and they've kept it below 4%. And when they have done this, it is ultimately going to, even if they lose a little bit of revenue from this taxing, they're ultimately going to promote the aviation. So it is going to be a win-win situation, and a lot of people done. But West Bengal, Delhi, these are states, Tamil Nadu, these are states which carry very high VAT percentage. So people from these states who would have raised about this air prices issue, I would once again make a very proactive approach to all of you that you speak to the state governments there. And if you can get the VAT reduced in that, that is going to reduce the price, because 45% of the price of the ticket is because of the fuel prices. So if you cut down on the VAT there, then definitely it is going to bring down the prices furthermore. So that is one request that I would want to make to all the MPs who represent the states, and they could speak to the state governments. And like I've said, the tariff monitoring unit is there. One key observation that we have found about this 24 hours, we want to change, we want to move into that direction. And we are comparing all the air prices of last year, previous year, because we also want to find a trend. Now, air prices, because it is a market-oriented system, whenever you see a festival, or whenever you see some kind of huge event happening in a certain region, or whenever there seems to be a huge inflow and outflow of passengers because of some activity that is happening there, then definitely the market seems to push it, the demand increases, and suddenly because of the demand, the prices also try to creep up. So we have tried to observe, because in Lok Sabha, when I was presenting this bill, this issue has been flagged over there also. And in fact, our Honorable Speaker of the House, he has also mentioned and suggested that we should speak with the airlines and do it. And we have done that also in the month of August. We have sat down with the airlines. We have sensitized them about this problem, that this is not a government problem or anything, it is a people's problem. It has been raised in the House, and our Honorable Speaker has also mentioned about it. So according to that, we have met the airlines, we have sensitized them, and then after the season, the Diwali season has been done, we have observed that in the previous Diwali, 2023, 2 days prior to the Diwali season, and now 2 days prior to this, the major sectors between the metros and the major connectivity points where huge traffic flows, the prices have reduced from 2% to the tune of 42%. This is something just by proactively reacting to the suggestions that you have given and interacting with the airlines and sensitizing that, we'll be thoroughly monitoring the air prices. And if there is anything, because we all have the rules right now, that if anything happens out of the rules, then we can penalize them also. So we are making the tariff monitoring unit system more and more robust, so that they can't act according to their whims and fancies, and they feel like they're in a closed room and they can do whatever they want. We are keeping a watchful eye on them, and we are moving one step at a time. And we want to ensure that जो हवाई चप्पल से हवाई जहाज का सफर जो है, वो अभी तक आधा तो सच हो गया है, और पूरी तरह से इसमें और लोगों को शामिल करने का जो ये है, वो आगे करते रहेंगे, और ये हमारे वादा है सरकार की तरफ से. And on top of this, airfares, there was also an issue of bomb threats also. And if you look at the bomb threats, it was during a specific period. There were multiple instances before also. Once in a while, these were happening. But from 10th October to 24th November, there was sudden surge and so many threats happening on the social media, especially on Twitter, and some were through calls and all. So first thing I want to tell the House is that for us as a ministry, safety and security is the topmost priority. Now, the threat can be a hoax threat or it can be a fake threat. But for us, once a threat is received, we have to follow the protocol, because we can't put any life at risk just based on assumptions or based on what we think the threat could be. So in that time, we have increased the security, overall surveillance, overall security measures that we need to take. On one step, we have improved. And we have kept the mechanism very, very dynamic. So whatever we have learned while doing these threats, while addressing these threats, whatever good feedback that came in through the ministry, through the BCAS, through MHA, through MIT, all these departments combined together, we have tried to address this problem as a dynamic situation. And overall, the flights, only 3.24 of the threats that were received, 3.24% of the flights only got diverted. So much of this thing we were able to address, and we were trying to get down the inconvenience faced by the passengers to the very minimum. That was one dynamic approach which we followed during the bomb threats. But I agree that this can't keep happening all the time. Now, they can't keep taking advantage of this situation that we are going to check each and every plane whenever a threat is received, and they can't do all these hoax threats, because all the threats we received were hoax threats. We thoroughly followed the process, and nowhere we found that there was any real threat. But as we move forward, we understand that this couldn't follow, so we are making some legislative changes also on this. We have aircraft security rules, and through these aircraft security rules, what we are trying to bring in is a legislation change where whoever found guilty of doing this will be put under no-fly list. So this is one approach that we are taking, so at least it becomes a deterrent. Because 3 instances, we have found out that there have been 11 different IDs that have been used through social media, and the police, especially Mumbai police and Delhi police, they have made some attempts to catch some people also. And they have found out that one person who was going after this, he had some kind of personal grudge against the person who was flying on that flight. So for that reason, he puts in a threat on social media that there is a bomb on the plane. So with these kind of using it for very petty pranking styles, or just not understanding the whole seriousness about the air travel and the security that we follow, we don't want people to step into that direction of using the aviation sector as doing for these pranks. So to put a deterrent, we are changing the aircraft security rules and making the no-fly list for these people who do these kind of activities. And also there is another act. Now people have mentioned, why don't you put it in this act also? But under the civil aviation, we have another act, which is the Swastika Act, safety suppression of unlawful acts against safety of civil aviation. This is another act which specifically deals with these offences and unlawful activities regarding the plane, and we found that that can be strengthened a little bit. So we are going into amend that law. We are bringing in slightly more stringent clause into that act itself, which will address the concern that has been raised today. So in very quick time, we would like to bring it to the House also, so that the amendment that is proposed in the Swastika Act can also get passed, and that is regarding the bomb threats we are facing. And on top of that, there are some other, in the very beginning, Digiyatra, privacy concerns, and keeps coming under questions also. But I have to say that regarding the Digiyatra, almost 3 crore people have used it till now. They find it very, very convenient, because what takes through the CISF security, what takes like 20 to 25 seconds, with the usage of this Digiyatra, it becomes 5 seconds for them to cross gate to gate. And it has been put at multiple points. One is at the entry of the airport, then there is the security check-in and the boarding gate thing. So at these 3 points, we are using these Digiyatra systems. And first and foremost, Digiyatra is a totally voluntary system. It's not a mandatory that we are pushing it onto the people or the passengers. Whoever feels that it is convenient for me to use the Digiyatra, only he gets to use it. And how do we address the privacy? There is a certain audit on this. There is a forensic audit which has been done, and everyone has pointed out that no privacy threat is being done by the Digiyatra. And whatever the information that is stored in the Digiyatra system, it gets purged. Once you use Digiyatra, the whole information about the Aadhaar or whatever details you put in, it gets stored on your phone